Oh, Sassy, the Los Angeles Rams, we think they might be the best team in football, but maybe they should stop losing.
This did not go the way we thought it would tonight.
Yes, we'll check in on the Rams and also the power rankings. Get ready. It's time to heed the call. Hey, welcome to Heed the Call, an NFL podcast. I am Dan Hanzus, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Sessler. There's also Justin Graver on the ones and twos on this cool Monday night, the end of the Monday Night Football regular season schedule. And we're going to get into what happened in the game that was played tonight. We're going to get into what happens because of that game in the NFC playoff picture. We're going to do a little power rankings. We'll get caught up on some news items. You know the drill. It's Monday night, baby. How you doing, Ceci?
I'm doing great. That is the drill. Now we've reached these moments with each passing day in the NFL calendar where things are being taken away from us a little bit. This is kind of our last real Monday Night Football show. And it was not the result that I think we would have predicted.
Don't forget about the super wild card Monday night affair.
I would not forget
2 weeks
that.
from tonight, in fact, I believe that is. Mm-hmm. So we will have another Monday night show in the season. But yes, the curtain came down on the regular season edition of Monday Night Football with a surprising outcome. Let's head to Atlanta. Yes, the Los Angeles Rams were no longer in the hunt for the top seed in the NFC. But still, you figured, coming off a loss that must have really smarted last week, they come out and take care of business against the Falcons, playing out the string. But it felt like the other way around. It felt like it was an identity swap of some time. You know how sometimes people in the dungeon at Sessler Manor will sometimes put on masks and get into their role-playing. That's what it felt like, because it was the Falcons who jump out to a 21-0 lead. They can't hold on to that lead. We even got the Arthur Blank shitting his pants sideline shot once it went from 21-0 to 24-24. But the Falcons regroup and led by their brilliant running back Bijan Robinson, who had just a remarkable game. They kick a go-ahead field goal and then get a stand just barely with a little help from the officiating in the final possession for Los Angeles. Final score 27-24. Falcons improved to 7-9, still out of the playoff mix in the NFC, and they'll remain that way, but they can factor in on tiebreakers. We'll get to that. And Mark, for the Rams, they fall to 11-5. 2 weeks ago, we were talking about them as the best team in football. They could still be the team that hoists the trophy in February. I don't rule them out as being one of the very best teams in football, but back-to-back losses here in late December, not really what I expected, and I don't think a lot of us did.
No, it was like uncharacteristic because I think the Rams have been high they've been in our power rankings because they're a very complete team. Like on defense, on offense, and in various ways on special teams. We saw that tonight. But we got the game that's not happened this year. Like Matthew Stafford had thrown 2 interceptions since week 4, and was the clear front-running MVP candidate. That could have changed a little tonight. And then you get the game that we've seen in years past, where Stafford is throwing, he throws a pick 6. He throws a costly second interception. He's making mistakes, and they lose Blake Corum in the middle of this. They're not able to be as ground and pound as they want. And to your point, some calls, I think, went a little against them late when it would have been the characteristic Monday Night Football Rams comeback. Puka Nacua makes what I think is the catch of the year ruled not a catch. Some people would say it's not. I thought it would have been, but I don't know what the rule is on at this point.
It wasn't a catch.
It wasn't, but it was like one of those incredible athletic things I've seen. There were times when we could get upset about what's a catch and what's not a catch, but it was honestly on the short list of the greatest catches I've ever seen in terms of what would be a catch. And this is where it does get annoying. It is a catch if you're playing in the backyard with your buddy. Yes.
Because he reaches out on the sideline. Just so everybody, all right, just to paint the picture here. Last possession, the Rams have less than 30 seconds. They're kind of up Schitt's Creek, but the Falcons seem intent on blowing the game. So on first down, they have a receiver, Smith, flash wide open for the Rams. And I don't know if there was a miscommunication between Stafford or if Smith broke off the route in the wrong way, but he was by himself with an opportunity to take that ball in, Xavier Smith, and instead it falls incomplete. So they miss out on that golden opportunity. And then on second down, Stafford again drops back, heaves it deep down the left sideline. Again, this is going to set them up near the end zone, this time to Tutu Atwell, and he gets his hand grabbed, and he's unable to use two hands to try to catch the ball. The refs missed the call. And,
that was D. Alford, and that was clear defensive pass interference.
Yes, although I found it interesting that they missed the call, and then the rules analyst for ESPN, he says, yeah, that should have been a flag. And then as Troy Aikman, of all people, is like, well, in real time, I don't know if it's that easy to say, but it was, I mean, by the letter of the law, a clear PI that was missed. So tough break for the Rams. And then on the next play, Puka Nacua, yes, on the sideline. This was a dart by Stafford that would have been a 30-some-odd yard gain that would have set them up on the fringe of field goal territory. He leans out as he's falling out of bounds. He makes a one-handed, backhanded catch. I have no idea how that guy, and I know he had a weird week last week, and I just wonder what's up with this dude behind the scenes, Puka Nacua, but like he is on the short list of the greatest hands that I've ever seen on a wide receiver. It's a very short list. Like, I feel like Chris Carter, back in the day, was the guy that epitomized great hands. And in this generation, Nacua is that guy. But as he was falling out of bounds, the defender did a great job pulling his hand literally away from the ball briefly. And once he doesn't have that possession, they have to turn it, keep the call as incomplete. So it wasn't a bad call. It was just kind of like, damn, it was such a beautiful effort that you almost wish he deserved to have a catcher, and he didn't. And then once that was incomplete, the game was over. But you're right. Stafford struggled in moments in this game. He had one pick six. He had 3 interceptions overall. I think Drake May stole MVP this week, quite frankly. He threw 5 touchdowns in 3 quarters against the Jets, and Stafford has a really bad week statistically. I think that's going to be enough to swing the scales. And for the Rams, it's a little bit of a wake up call these last 2 weeks. I still believe in this team. I think their comeback from 21 down really showed something. Jared Verse, that was one of the most, and we were texting about it, Justin, one of the most functionally perfect plays I've ever seen on special teams. Jared Verse perfectly timing the field goal block, it hitting his hand, spiking straight to the ground, neatly popping up straight into his chest, and then he took it in stride the other way, 70 yards, and throws up a peace sign to the opposing sideline, a 10-point swing. And Mark, I know at that point it felt like the Rams were going to finish this thing off, but to the credit of Atlanta, they were able to regroup and even though they gave up the tying touchdown, not let this one get away.
No, I know Justin loved that play. I mean, I hate the sports commentator thing where we try to say, well, if I tried to do that, well, of course you're doing what you do because you're not going to do it. But to smash your human body through massive, like, hulking individuals and then leap into the air the way that he did to block that and then take it the distance. Like,
human
Jared
body
Verse
shows great
player.
proclivity to do great athletic feats.
Well, what do you want me to say? But it was like, that's
body.
When I thought, because I kept
telling you.
You
don't have to say human body. We know you're talking about it.
Right.
Well, it could be an animal's body. There are animals with bodies. I mean, this was a
not playing professional football, but go ahead. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I think in this, I kept telling you guys, and I think I do this sometimes to prepare for what I just assume will happen with every NFL game. Like, the Rams will come back and tie this. We'll go to overtime. Now, it almost came true, but that's when I thought this is going to happen. Like, that was the one thing the Rams needed tonight, and it was a play that sparked them. But you're right, and I think you have to look at like someone like DJ Humphries that wiped out a 36-yard completion to Puka Nacua that would have set up something special. He wiped out a touchdown with two terrible penalties. Like, they were down 2 offensive linemen. They had no Devontae Adams. I think that mattered tonight for the Rams. They couldn't do what they normally wanted to do. They lost Blake Corum at one point. Like, they just weren't set up to operate the way they wanted to on offense.
I guess, yeah. I mean, they were shut out.
But
in the
the
first
Falcons
half.
also played an.
Yeah, no, I want to, and we'll get to the
here.
Falcons.
Yeah.
I just maybe my head is in the sand on this because I'm dug in that I think the Rams are and still can be the best team in football and be the Super Bowl winner. So despite the heartbreaking nature of 38-37 last week against the Seahawks, despite the disappointing nature of 27-24, these are two road games, and now they're going to be a wild card. They're either going to be the 5th or 6th seed in the NFC, and they're going to be on the road for 3 games to get to the Super Bowl if they get there, most likely. And you lose 2 tough road games here, but I still feel like the Rams are going to be ready to roll. And I would not be one. I don't know. I have no idea who they end up facing. We don't know yet in the first round, but I don't want to face the Rams. I don't want the Rams coming into my building in the first round. I think the Rams are going to be okay, but these 2 losses, hyper annoying. I would imagine both losses for different reasons, hyper annoying losses. And on the Falcons side, because we don't have to spend too much time on the Falcons because the Falcons are what they are, which is year after year, a underachieving group that flash immense potential. I was thinking about this. They're kind of like your friend that you had. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's an ex. Maybe it's a family member.
Could be all 3
that you have. Has this great potential. Maybe they're like the smartest person or they're the most athletic person and they don't really apply themselves and maximize what is very clear to be special gifts, but then will come through eventually just because they get in the mood or find spurts of motivation. It's like, shit, if only you were always like that. That's what the Falcons are. The Falcons, there's no reason in that shit pit that is the NFC South that the Falcons with that much talent, with Bijan Robinson, the best player in football, let's be real about this, pound for pound, once again showing it in this game with 195 yards on the ground, touchdown receiving, a 93-yard touchdown on the ground. There is no way that the Panthers or the damn Bucks should be going to the playoffs this year. But that's the way it is because this team can never put it together. And maybe Raheem Morris ends up keeping his job now because of these wins down the stretch. I don't think it's a good idea, but that's the decision for the guy with the soggy pants on the sideline, Arthur Blank. But I just think they are a frustrating team to watch because you know what their potential is, and they almost feel like pathologically compelled to not live up to their abilities.
They're a reflection of that whole NFC South division too, which is hard to get a grasp on, and we've said that all year. But right, tonight, the way they played tonight, no one would want to deal with that ground game. And they've had that at times, but it's every third week. If you're Raheem Morris, your argument is, we've beaten the Rams tonight on an island game. We beat the Bills. We can play with these teams, but then what about the weeks you lose to non-contenders and nobodies? You've got there's a string of incredible players on the Falcons. I'd argue that outside of Cleveland, they've got the best rookie class in the league. Xavier Watts tonight, 2 interceptions, Pierce, all these guys are making a big difference for the Falcons. And it's been 2 years in a row that they've drafted really well. And they've got the parts, but then they, every 2 out of 3 weeks,
I was going to say,
they're a floundering mess.
We say all that, and they're on a 3-game winning streak, and they've won 4 or 5, and they're 7-9 and mathematically eliminated. Right. So that's that game. And that game has, like we said, ramifications on the NFC playoff picture, if we want to throw that up, Justin, because despite the fact that the Falcons can't win what's that?
I think we can get to the playoff picture in a sec. I should point out that I locked an 8.5-point favorite Los Angeles Rams team tonight. And in the first half, I texted you guys, did I lock the Rams by 17? I think I meant to say Falcons by 17 because that's the way it was trending, but just a really brutal miss for me. It's going to hurt me in my hunt to climb out of 4th place, but for now, I remain.
Okay, so you take the, and we'll talk about it on our preview episode, but I think I was the only one that got a win this week.
Yeah.
And that might be the...
Well, then we'll definitely talk about it for quite a while.
Well, no, I track these things religiously for the good of the show, Sessler. And I know that we went winless. In the last 3 weeks, we've went winless, 1-3, 1-3. Not good enough. That is not good enough.
2-10 over 3 weeks, not going to get it done. So we all got to look in the mirror and be a little better, I think. Especially
me.
You
guys.
Because I've gone.
Especially
I went
Mark.
0
Especially Mark.
3
Well, when we went 1-7 over 2 weeks, the win came from myself, from I. So just to let you know, like I track these things too, but when it's like just to be real about this and factual versus up in the air. But
anyway, you wanted NFC or AFC first? Sorry.
Give me NFC. We've been talking NFC. So that game on Saturday night, Seahawks versus 49ers, it will determine the 1 seed. So whoever wins that not only wins the NFC West, they also clinch a home field advantage and a first-round bye. Massive implications.
Wild. Yeah.
And the loser of that game, so if the Rams win in Week 18, and who do they have in Week 18? The Rams.
They have Arizona. So
the Rams, they'll take care of business against the Cardinals. If the 49ers lose to the Seahawks, the Rams could actually leapfrog the Niners and be the 5th seed in the NFC. The Niners would be the 6th in that situation. The Packers are locked into the 7th. The Panthers/Bucks are locked in at 4 no matter what as the division winner with the worst record. But this is notable because the Falcons won tonight. They could potentially finish with the same record as the Buccaneers and Panthers if the Bucks win. And because of that, even if the Panthers lose to the Bucks on Saturday, the Panthers can win the NFC South still if the Falcons win on Sunday.
That was very cunning by the
Saints.
NFL, which I'm not surprised to use that word, but the Bucks and Panthers, no matter what, will sit in a strange world for at least 24 hours of talk and analysis until that Falcons
Unless
game
the
occurs.
Panthers win. If the Panthers win outright, it's already done.
Yeah.
But if and now we're presupposing the Bucks win a game in December, which is laughable. But if the Bucks win, they have to then hope that the Falcons lose to the Saints. And only if that happens would the Bucks play postseason football. So yes, there's things going on still. There's drama. There's not a lot of teams. It's not like it's been in the past where there's multiple teams that have an opportunity to get in from the wild card side. It's just the nature of the NFC beast. Right now, the 49ers, Rams, and Packers as the 3 wild cards is pretty damn good. On the AFC side of things, as we take a look at that. So the Broncos, we're going to get to the Broncos in a second because they caught a major break based on some decision making by their Week 18 opponent. But the Broncos win on Sunday, they clinch the top seed. The Patriots win on Sunday. If they beat the Dolphins and the Broncos lose somehow, it would be the Patriots to take the top seed. Is there a path for the Jaguars to get to the 1?
Yes. If the Broncos and Patriots both lose, then the Jags have to beat the Titans. They can take the 1 seed.
Ah, interesting. Okay, the Steelers.
Isn't this the perfect season for that to occur?
Yeah, of course it is, and I would not be surprised if somehow it ended up happening because this has been a wild NFL season. The Steelers, the AFC North team, is like the equivalent of what's happened in the NFC South, where this is a lesser record. So the winner of Steelers-Ravens Sunday Night Football wins the division, and they're locked in at that 4 seed in the wild card round. And then in the wild card situation, the Texans have clinched, the Chargers have clinched, the Bills have all clinched wild card spots at 11-5. So there's nobody that could sneak in the back door there. I guess there's some positioning that can switch based on results, obviously, but nothing too crazy on the AFC side from that standpoint. So that is the setup as we close the chapter that was Week 18. Let's take a break. When we get back, we'll do a quick bit of news. But before we take that break, just a quick update. How about this? A little program update? No, how about a little operational update from Heed the Call?
Not? Yeah.
Give me that operational update celebration horn. Don't know if that's appropriate for this. It's an operational update. Stupid. Doesn't match at all.
I like that we've hired out a 14th century European castle to play our anthems and chimes.
Yes. You know that heedthecallpodcast.com is your home for exclusive merchandise. We launched that earlier this month or late last month. We've gotten some feedback. Hey, I put in an order. When should we be expecting it? We got an update. As you know, this is the maiden voyage for merch, and we're working with a company on this as they got the pre-orders, and then they had to, have the actual product made as we're getting this thing off the ground. We have since gotten an update. Mark, what?
Well, as we speak, the update suggests that stuff is being shipped now. So it's going to arrive to you in person very soon, and we're very excited about that.
Yes, the mugs have started to ship. The pint glasses have started to ship. Some shirts have begun to ship. So we look forward to you guys getting your merch and showing it off on social media. And as we begin that exciting chapter on the operational side of things. So that's the update there. So keep an eye out on your mailbox, because Heed the Call merch is headed your way. Let's take a break, and when we get back, some news. All right, we are back. Okay, let's hit a couple of news items coming out of Sunday.
Performing live coming up next during halftime when the Vikings take on the Lions at 4:30 Eastern Time. A Christmas faux shizzle my nizzle. Okay. All right.
Dumb.
Shizzle my nizzle. I kind of feel like 5 years ago, Iron Eagle might have lost his job for that. So maybe we're like having a little progress as a nation. Everybody's like not so panicked about things at all times now. We're just having fun out here.
We're making progress in some ways as a nation, and that would be one of the ways.
Faux shizzle. All right, let's get into it. A few things here. Two treat things. I mentioned the Broncos caught a break. They did. It's a big one because Jim Harbaugh, coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, has decided, following the Bolts' Saturday loss to the Texans, which took them out of the running for the division, he's going to take it easy in Week 18. He's going to start gearing up for the playoffs, and it could mean that they get beat by the Broncos in Week 18 as a result, and it might change his opponent, but he's not worried about any of that. He wants to be as healthy as possible, especially his star quarterback, Justin Herbert, who's been playing with a broken, surgically repaired hand. So Herbert will not play on Sunday against the Broncos, a massive, massive boost for Denver's hopes to hold off New England and Jacksonville as the 1 seed. Here was Jim Harbaugh explaining his reasoning.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, the thing, winning and being healthy, those are our two objectives. And yeah, guys that we think, the doctors, the trainers, myself, the organization, that have the most bruises, and need that time the most, or we've decided that's the direction we're going.
And a follow-up question by a reporter who was fearless, even though Jim Harbaugh is slightly terrifying, at least to me. Wait a second, Jim. You trying to manipulate the playoff matchups? Is there a team you're hunting for maybe to get in the wild card round?
Health and winning, that's it. Yeah, there's no way to predict. We're going on the road, first round. All potential teams would be good, and we'll get ourselves ready for that.
Well, okay, but I'm just doing some quick math in my head. I know, as I'm picturing the seeding here, it's going to be some combination of the Patriots potentially. Let's say the Broncos take care of business now. The Patriots, the Jaguars, and the Steelers/Ravens. I feel like that's the team I would want in the first round.
Well, the one that, if you really wanted to go for it, there's a world where the Chargers could beat Denver, and they did beat them in week 3. And with a few things happening, secure the 5th seed, which would pit you against the Steelers or Ravens. So that's the team everyone would want to play. He's simply going for which is sort of a Sean McVay approach. We talked about it on Sunday. Like, I don't care who we play. I want to be the best we can be. I want to be healthy. And they do have some health issues, but I don't know if those are going to get solved with 1 week of resting any of these guys.
I see where he's coming from. I'd probably do the same thing. Once the division's gone, it becomes a situation where, okay, what's the best version of the team? So
and
Trey
remember,
Lance,
he wasn't there, but remember when this team lost Mike Williams like in the finale and then got their butts squelched in the playoffs? Like, I kind of get let's go in the best we can be, but that's your purview. That's your choice.
I hear that. Trey Lance will get the start against that Denver pass rush. Good luck, young man. In other news, so yeah, we mentioned the Ravens. Steelers will be playing for the AFC North title on Sunday Night Football. Still unclear if Lamar Jackson will be ready. As usual, it's a little bit, you try to like parse things and parse comments about Lamar and the status of his health, whether it's a physical injury or an illness. Remember, this was a contusion in his back, as I understand it, suffered in week 16. He didn't play in week 17, and they still won. And then paired with the Steelers' loss to the Browns, now we're set up for this big game. But Harbaugh is not saying that Lamar will be ready for week 18 either necessarily. And I just thought some of his wording here was interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's to be determined. Still he's coming off a very serious injury, and he's working at it. Saw him in here today working at it. So I think we'll know a lot more on Wednesday. If Lamar's ready to go, he's playing. That's it.
Yeah, I think what I mean by that, Mark, is the coach feeling almost inclined to say this is a very serious injury. Which maybe isn't how it's been reported or how it seemed in the moment, but providing a little bit of cover, I guess, for your quarterback. And people are wondering why he's not playing or might not play with the season on the line on Sunday night.
You can say Lamar, like he's got illnesses all the time. Like, there's been a lot of late season absences in key spots for the Ravens over the last 4 years or whatever. And I think it raises conversation. We've had those conversations. So I guess you're looking out for your player, but I also, if he's got a legit back issue, and Troy Aikman mentioned this tonight about a different player, like, you just simply can't perform on the field the way you'd want to. And so it's like, if that's the case, that's the case. But there's also stories out there today from Mike Sando of The Athletic, who is a very good reporter, about the fact that he spoke to NFL executives who talked about the fact that the biggest tectonic shift this offseason, that the Lamar Jackson won't be on the Ravens after this season. So a lot's happening. I don't know what I think is there some political stuff along with health stuff. In this moment, no matter what, you'd like to